Hi, so this week is Mental Health Awareness Week, and I wanted just a brief opportunity to tune into that a little bit and offer some guidance on how we can all be looking after ourselves a little bit more, and some things that we can consider in terms of our well-being. Okay, so today I just want to talk through something called B.A.C.E.S. So this is about taking some positive steps towards managing your mental health, your well-being, and how we can do this is starting to look at these different areas. So B.A.C.E.S stands for body, achievement, connection, enjoyment, and stepping back. So all of these things are different elements that can contribute to us feeling more well in ourselves, feeling more emotionally resilient. So let's just talk through that a little bit. So firstly, we're going to start with body. So when we're talking about body, we're talking about self-care for your body. So that's thinking about kind of raising your awareness to the fact that our bodies and our minds interlink. So if our bodies aren't getting what they need, if they aren't getting the fuel that they need, then what tends to happen is we're less able to deal with emotional challenges, emotional difficulties. So overall, we're less emotionally resilient if our bodies and our physical health isn't great. So we want to think about making sure that we're getting the best sleep that we can. So you can tune into some sleep hygiene techniques for that. You want to think about getting regular exercise, making sure that you're eating and drinking enough regularly. So throughout the day, are you getting what your body needs? Making sure that you have a balanced and healthy diet, because food is almost like fuel for our minds. So it's really, really important that we're tuning into that and not neglecting that part of our day. Also beware of things like alcohol, caffeine, substances, sort of drugs, smoking. All these things, particularly in excess, can be harmful to our bodies as well as our well-being. So can you pay attention to how those things are affecting you and maybe think of some helpful ways to reduce that? Next, we want to think about achievement. So the other part of B.A.C.E.S is achievement, and it's really crucial in terms of managing our well-being. So particularly if we're someone who's demotivated or low in mood, then achievement is a really critical part of sort of alleviating that low mood. So setting up some really sort of helpful and realistic goals so you can sort of do things in line with your values and get that sense of achievement is really important. That sense of achievement releases hormones such as dopamine and serotonin, and they're really beneficial for our well-being. Connection then, so the C in B.A.C.E.S is around connecting with others, and you might have seen in some other videos that I do that connection is really important for our well-being. It sort of sustains us, and it also boosts neurotransmitters that can be helpful in boosting our mood. So really, really important. And also we know that generally if we're not feeling well, if we're not feeling great within ourselves, then we can have a tendency to neglect our relationships, and also socially withdraw, maybe isolate ourselves. And as we're in quarantine and already quite isolated, it's really important, particularly at this time, to stay connected. So be creative with how you can do that at the moment, but very, very important. Next, we want to think about enjoyment. So one of the first things that gets neglected, and a way that we sort of maybe go down an unhelpful spiral, is to take a step back from those enjoyable activities, pleasurable activities. So we want to think about, particularly if you're in isolation and quarantine at the moment, what can you do to sort of, I guess, schedule in or bring into your day something that you enjoy, something that you really enjoy doing. So not the things that we need to do, not the things that are sort of draining our resources, just something that we enjoy, something fun, and that can be different for everybody. But that can really boost our energy and nourish us, and again bring out those really helpful hormones that allow us to feel better in mood. So maybe aim to do more enjoyable activities, or think about something that was enjoyable before that maybe you've stopped doing, and think about helpful ways to get back to that. Now moving on to step back. So this is the last bit of our B.A.C.E.S acronym. Taking a step back is really important. So we might have a tendency to become emotionally overwhelmed, feel like emotions are kind of guiding our lives. We get caught up in difficult emotions, and it can be really challenging to think clearly, to think about seeing the bigger picture or seeing sort of the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe we react sometimes unhelpfully for ourselves, for others, because of this. And so taking a step back is really critical. So if you notice some unhelpful feelings, if you're noticing sort of difficult emotions arising within yourself, then make sure to take a step back. And there is a simple way to do this. So I have something that I would probably hand out to clients. You probably can't see this very well, but this is a STOPP card. So this is a diffusion exercise that I would usually support using, and it's about being able to firstly sort of stop, take a step back, take a breath, so a nice calming breath, so inhale, exhale, and continue with that if you need to for a minute. Then observe what's going on for you. So what am I thinking? What am I reacting to? What am I feeling in my body at the moment? So we don't usually take very much time to be in the present when we're feeling emotionally overwhelmed and tune into it in this way. So this is really helpful. So I've stopped, I've taken a breath. Now I'm observing what's going on for me, considering how I think, how I'm behaving, and how I'm feeling in my body. Next, I want to pull back. So I want to take a minute to put things into perspective a little bit. So we don't really have much opportunity to be sort of introspective in this way. So if you sort of taken some calming breaths and you've taken a minute to kind of center your focus, then put things into perspective, see the bigger picture. Is what's going on for me sort of fact or opinion? So what I'm thinking, is it fact or opinion? How would someone else view this situation, or how would someone else talk to me if I was in this situation? Are my thoughts in line with how somebody else might react? Is my behaviour in line with how somebody else might react? You know, sort of giving yourself to be a little bit more objective, so shifting from subjective to objective. And then the next thing, so we've thought of the S, T, O, P, and the next P in the STOPP technique is practicing what works. So what's the best thing for me to do right now? What would others do in this situation? And really start to think about this. And it might be good for you if you have one of these cards, or if you have some space on your phone to write down this technique and also write down some key things that really work for you. So what would you do in this situation? Do you do a breathing technique? Do you walk away? Do you use a helpful distraction? Do you have a cup of tea? What do you do? And so then you've thought about kind of shifting your focus, you've gained some perspective, you've started to put in place a plan for you to use some helpful tools. So that's about all the aims really of the stepping back approach. Now there's lots of different ways that you can refocus your attention or consider kind of diffusion techniques. STOPP is just one of them, so do have a look at getselfhelp.com to find out a little bit more about that and maybe use some CBT techniques to help you. But that is our B.A.C.E.S technique, and I hope that you found this helpful to go through. But this is just some basic ways that we can start really attending to our well-being and something to really take notice of. Okay, take care everyone, bye now.